The outpost was quiet, sitting at the edge of a red desert world. The humans called it Station 14, though the aliens who passed through had no name for it. For them, it was only a stop, a place where fuel was stored and supplies could be taken before moving deeper into the war zone. Inside the hangar, the air was hot with the smell of oil and metal. Rows of ships rested in silence, some new, some with marks of battle still on their sides. Human workers moved between them, checking engines and tools. Among them was Miran, a human engineer who spoke little and spent most of his days with machines. He was young, but his hands were steady, and his mind was sharp. That day, a shadow fell across the outpost. A large alien warship landed outside the hangar. Its engines roared as the ground shook beneath it. The humans stopped what they were doing and stared. They had seen alien soldiers before, but not a full squad led by one of their high commanders. The ship doors opened, and the warriors stepped out. Their armor shone with a faint light, alive in a way human machines never were. Each suit was tall, heavy, and strange, moving as if it had a will of its own. At the front of the group walked Commander Vera. She was taller than all her warriors, her armor dark blue with silver lines running across it. Her presence made the humans step back in silence. But the eyes of the alien squad were not on the humans. They carried something heavy between them, a suit of armor that was broken. The chest was cracked, the energy lines were dark, and the living core at the center flickered weakly. The armor was not dead, but it was close to it. Vera's voice was sharp when she spoke. This armor must be repaired. We tried everything, but nothing worked. If it dies, the warrior inside will die too. Our healers failed. Our machines failed. We bring it here, because there is no choice left. The humans looked at one another in confusion. They had never repaired alien armor before. Their tools were made for metal, wires, and engines, not for living suits that breathed and pulsed like a heart. One of the alien warriors stepped forward and said in a low voice, "It is pointless, Commander. These humans cannot fix what our best could not." Vera did not answer him. Her eyes moved across the hangar, and then they stopped on Miran, who was still standing beside a half-open engine. He had not looked away when the aliens entered. His face was calm, though his heart was beating fast. "You," Vera said, pointing at him. "You are an engineer." Miran nodded slowly. "Yes. I repair ships, engines, machines." "This is no simple machine," Vera said. "But you will look at it." The other humans whispered to him not to do it. They said it was dangerous, that touching alien armor could harm him. The aliens themselves muttered that it was foolish, that a human's weak hands would break the suit further. But Vera's gaze stayed firm, and in her tone there was no space for refusal. Miran stepped forward. He looked at the broken armor lying before him. Its chest was open like a wound. Faint sparks ran across the surface, then vanished. He could hear something like breathing, slow and shallow, coming from within. He knelt down beside it. The armor's surface felt warm, almost alive, when his fingers brushed against it. He could sense its struggle, as if it wanted to keep living but no longer knew how. The alien warriors watched closely, ready to pull him away if he damaged it. Miran spoke quietly, more to himself than to them. "It is not just metal. It is alive." One alien laughed harshly. "And what can a human know of such things?" But Miran ignored the words. He leaned closer, tracing the broken lines with his eyes. He noticed how the cracks bent in patterns, how the energy channels twisted in shapes he had seen before in old human designs. Something in his mind clicked. as if the suit's language was familiar to him even though he had never studied it. He asked for tools. Not alien machines, just human ones. A soldering line, thin wires, and a diagnostic scanner. The aliens frowned at his choices, but Vera gave a silent nod, and the tools were brought. Miran worked slowly, his hands steady. He cleaned the cracks, checked the flow of energy, and placed wires where the channels had died. The armor twitched under his touch, as though it felt what he was doing. The humans watched in awe, and even the aliens grew silent. For a moment, a soft glow returned to the armor's chest, then faded again. Miran paused, thinking, then changed his approach. Instead of forcing the wires to fit the alien shape, he shaped them the way humans built circuits, simple and direct. When he did that, the glow strengthened. Vera leaned closer, her eyes sharp with interest. "You did something different. What was it?" Miran answered without looking up. "Your machines try to copy perfection. Humans don't. We build with what we have. Sometimes broken things work better in simple ways." The glow pulsed again, stronger now. The armor gave a soft sound, almost like a sigh. The alien warriors shifted uneasily, not sure if they were witnessing repair or something stranger. Vera's gaze stayed locked on Miran. For the first time, her voice softened. "Perhaps there is more to your kind than I thought." The armor flickered once more, then steadied. Its energy lines lit faintly across the chest, not full strength, but alive again. Miran sat back, his forehead damp with sweat, but his expression calm. "It is not finished," he said. "But it is alive. That is enough for now." Silence filled the hangar. Humans and aliens both stared at the suit that everyone had believed was beyond saving. Only one human engineer had touched it, and already it showed signs of recovery. Vera stood tall, her eyes never leaving Miran. She spoke to her warriors in a firm voice. "Guard this human. He may be the only one who can save us." The hangar felt heavier after Miran's work. The humans whispered among themselves, still not sure how their quiet engineer had done what even alien healers could not. The alien warriors stood in silence, their tall figures tense, their glowing eyes fixed on the half-repaired armor. The core inside it pulsed faintly, a slow rhythm, like a weak heart returning to life. Commander Vera watched closely. Her arms were folded across her chest, and her face showed no emotion, but her eyes never left Miran. She had seen many victories and many failures, but what she had just witnessed confused her more than both. Miran sat on the floor beside the armor. His hands were darkened with oil and sparks, his tools scattered around him. He stared at the living suit as though it was not a weapon of war, but a puzzle waiting to be solved. At last, one of the alien soldiers broke the silence. "It is a trick. The glow will fade. The armor cannot truly respond to a human." The words were cold, but Vera lifted her hand, silencing him. Her gaze stayed on Miran. "Continue," she said. Miran nodded. He reached out slowly, his fingertips brushing against the surface of the armor. The suit reacted at once. A faint shiver ran through it, as if the living metal knew who was touching it. The humans stepped back in surprise. Even the alien warriors straightened, their weapons clutched tighter. Miran did not pull his hand away. Instead, he pressed his palm flat against the cracked chest. The lines of energy beneath the surface flickered, then brightened, forming a faint glow that spread under his hand. "It feels warm," Miran murmured softly. His voice carried through the hangar. "It is not just broken. It is frightened." The alien warriors exchanged uneasy looks. None of them had ever described their armor in such words. To them, it was a tool, alive in a way, but not a creature with feelings. Yet the way the suit responded to Miran's touch was undeniable. Vera stepped closer, her eyes fixed on the glow. "Why does it respond to you?" she asked. Her voice was calm but carried a weight that demanded an answer. Miran shook his head. "I don't know. But it listens. It understands that I'm trying to help." The alien who had spoken before growled. "Armor does not listen. It obeys or it dies." Miran ignored him. His focus was on the weak glow beneath his hand. He felt something like a rhythm, a pattern of life that was both mechanical and organic. It reminded him of working with old engines that coughed and struggled but refused to give up. Machines, like people, wanted to keep moving if given a chance. He picked up a wire and attached it gently to one of the broken channels. The glow wavered, then steadied. He placed another wire, then another, and each time the armor reacted as though it welcomed the repair. Vera knelt beside him now, her tall frame lowering to the ground. The movement surprised her warriors, who had never seen their commander kneel before anyone. She ignored their stares, her sharp eyes fixed on the human's hands. "You are not forcing it," she said quietly. "You are guiding it." Miran glanced at her. "Machines don't like force. They break under it. Sometimes they just need a hand to show them the way." Her expression shifted, just slightly, as if she was hearing something new for the first time. "Our healers do not think this way. That is why it did not work for them," Miran replied simply. The glow spread further now, faint lines running across the armor's body. It was weak but steady. The armor twitched, almost like it was breathing deeper than before. A hush fell over the hangar again. One of the younger alien soldiers whispered, "It is alive again." The commander's gaze snapped toward him, but instead of silencing the words, she allowed them to hang in the air. Because it was true. Miran finally sat back, his face pale from the effort. He wiped his hands on a cloth, leaving streaks of black across the fabric. "It will take time. But it is listening to me. That means it can be saved." The warriors still looked doubtful, but none of them dared speak against what they had just seen. Vera rose to her full height. She looked down at Miran, her expression unreadable. "You are unlike the others," she said slowly. Miran gave a small shrug. "I just see things differently." Her gaze lingered on him a moment longer before she turned to her warriors. "From now on, no one interferes with his work. He will continue until the armor is whole again." The soldiers nodded, though some of them still looked displeased. But Vera's word was law, and none would dare question it. As the group began to move back, Miran rested his hand one last time on the armor. The glow under his palm brightened briefly, like a heartbeat of thanks. He smiled faintly, though he said nothing. The humans in the hangar, who had been silent through most of this, finally began to whisper. They looked at Miran differently now, not just as one of their own but as someone who had crossed a line none of them thought possible. When the aliens left the hangar, carrying the armor carefully, Vera remained behind for a moment. She studied Miran with sharp eyes. "You may not understand what you have done," she said, her voice low. "But know this. If you succeed, you will change how my people see yours." Miran met her gaze. He did not flinch, though her presence was heavy like stone. "Then I'll do my best." She nodded once, a sharp motion, then turned to follow her warriors out. When the hangar doors closed, Miran sat alone with his tools. His hands trembled slightly now that the moment was gone. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. He did not know why the armor listened to him, but he knew one thing clearly. For the first time, the war between humans and aliens might not be decided only by battles, but by something else. Something as small as a single touch, and the trust it created. The next morning, the hangar was busier than usual. Human workers repaired ships, checked engines, and moved supplies, but their eyes often drifted toward the corner where the alien armor rested. The suit had been placed on a reinforced platform, guarded by two tall alien soldiers who never left their posts. The faint glow inside the armor pulsed slowly, as though it was breathing in sleep. Miran arrived early, carrying his small box of tools. He walked past the guards without fear, though their glowing eyes followed him closely. Commander Vera stood near the armor, her arms crossed as always. She had been there since dawn, watching over it. "You return," she said. Miran nodded. "It needs me. I can feel it." Vera studied him for a long moment before stepping aside. "Then work. My people will watch. Do not fail." He set his tools down and placed a hand on the armor. The surface was warmer now, alive in a way it had not been the day before. The glow inside flickered faintly, like a weak flame trying to rise. The guards leaned closer as Miran began opening small panels along the chest and shoulders. What he found inside surprised him. The energy channels were not random shapes but carefully woven patterns. The curves, the lines, the angles, they reminded him of something he had seen before, not in alien machines but in old human blueprints stored in the outpost library. He remembered one particular design, an ancient system once used in early starship reactors. Humans had abandoned it long ago, but the shapes were the same. The idea struck him hard. This armor, though alien, carried pieces of human design. He frowned, tracing the patterns with a finger. Why would alien armor share designs with human machines? Unless, he thought, it was not a coincidence. Behind him, Vera's voice cut through the silence. "What do you see?" Miran hesitated, then said, "This is familiar to me. Parts of this design match old human work. Very old. Our ancestors used something like this in early ships." Her eyes narrowed. "Impossible. This armor has existed for centuries. It was built by my people long before humans left their world." Miran shook his head. "No, I know what I'm seeing. These lines, these curves, they are human. Maybe your people took them, or maybe someone else gave them to you. But they are not yours alone." The alien guards shifted uneasily at his words. To suggest that their proud technology carried human roots was almost an insult. But Vera did not silence him. Instead, she leaned closer, her sharp gaze fixed on his hands. "Show me," she ordered. Miran pulled a small tablet from his tool kit. On it he stored old schematics he sometimes studied for ideas. He searched quickly, then projected an image into the air. It was a faded diagram of an ancient human reactor, lines running across the page in a pattern of circles and branching curves. He held it up beside the armor's chest. The patterns matched. Not perfectly, but close enough to see that one had inspired the other. The hangar went silent. Even the human workers stopped and stared. Vera's expression hardened, but not with anger. She was thinking. "If what you say is true, then long ago someone carried your designs across the stars." Miran nodded. "That would explain why your healers fail. You treat it like alien craft. But at its heart, it thinks like a human machine. That is why it listens to me." The guards whispered among themselves. The idea was strange, even dangerous. To admit that their proud living armor carried human roots was to admit weakness. Yet they could not deny the proof before their eyes. Vera finally spoke, her voice steady. Then you are the key. Perhaps that is why it responds to you. Miran said nothing more. He returned to his work, using the old design as a guide. His hands moved with greater confidence now, fitting wires and circuits in ways no alien would have imagined. Each step made the glow inside the armor stronger. As he worked, Vera watched in silence. She was not used to doubt. Her people believed themselves masters of war, yet here she stood, watching a human solve a problem none of them could touch. She studied Miran carefully, not just his hands but the way his eyes moved, the calm in his face, the patience in his every choice. It was not strength of body that made him succeed, but something else. Hours passed. Sweat ran down Miran's face, but he did not stop. The armor began to respond more quickly now. Its chest pulsed in stronger rhythms, the glow spreading across its limbs. At one point, a faint hum filled the air, like a deep breath rising from the suit itself. The alien guards shifted nervously. One whispered, "It lives." Miran looked up at Vera. "It is working. The suit is remembering." She tilted her head. "Remembering?" "Yes," he said. "Machines have memory. They hold the touch of those who built them. This one remembers hands that built with human thought. That is why it trusts me." Vera stared at the armor, then at Miran. Her expression remained hard, but there was a new weight in her eyes. A thought she could not push aside. The hum of the armor grew stronger. Its limbs twitched faintly, as though testing themselves after a long sleep. The glow spread across its chest, bright and steady now. Miran lowered his tools, breathing deeply. "It will live. But it is not finished yet. More work must be done." The hangar was silent again. Humans and aliens both knew they had just witnessed something important. Vera stepped closer, her tall shadow falling over Miran. She spoke in a quiet voice meant only for him. "Do you realize what this means? If our armor holds your people's secrets, then your kind is not weak. You are not outsiders. You are part of this war whether you wish to be or not." Miran met her gaze, steady and calm. "Then maybe it is time your people stop underestimating us." Her lips curved into the faintest trace of a smile. It was gone in an instant, replaced by her usual stern look. "Finish your work, human. The battle waits for no one." She turned and strode away, her soldiers following. The glow of the armor filled the hangar, and Miran sat beside it, lost in thought. The secret was out. Humans were tied to this living armor in ways no one had expected. The armor pulsed faintly on the platform, brighter than the day before. Its chest glowed in slow rhythm, as if it was breathing stronger now. The hum of life inside it carried through the hangar, quiet but steady. Humans stopped their work to glance at it, and even alien soldiers looked with silent awe. Miran stood beside the platform, wiping sweat from his forehead. His tools lay scattered around him, wires and small devices carefully placed. He had worked through the morning, and though his hands were tired, his eyes were calm. Commander Vera entered the hangar with her usual heavy steps. Her tall figure cast a long shadow, and her armor gleamed under the bright lights. The guards straightened at once, but she did not look at them. Her gaze went directly to Miran. "How is it today?" she asked. Miran placed a hand on the armor's surface. The glow pulsed brighter under his touch, responding instantly. "Stronger. It listens to me faster now. The energy channels are almost stable." Vera stepped closer, her sharp eyes fixed on the faint glow. You speak as if it were alive. Miran nodded. In its own way, it is. It feels fear when it weakens, hope when it heals. You see only a weapon, but I see something that wants to survive. Vera tilted her head, her silver-lined helmet reflecting the glow. Strange words. My people would never describe armor this way. We command it. We do not comfort it. Miran gave a small smile. Maybe that is why it obeys you but trusts me. The words hung between them. Vera's expression did not change, but she studied him with an intensity that felt heavier than her armor. After a long silence, she knelt down beside him. The sudden motion startled both the guards and the human workers. A commander of her rank kneeling beside a human was a sight none had ever imagined. But Vera ignored the stares. Her eyes stayed on Miran's hands as he worked. Show me, she said. Miran blinked in surprise. You want to learn? Yes, she replied firmly. If this armor truly carries secrets from your people, then I must understand how you see it. Miran hesitated, then nodded. He picked up a thin wire and guided her hand. Her large armored fingers were not built for delicate work, but she followed his movements carefully. He showed her where the broken line ran, and how to place the wire not by force but by guiding the flow. At first the suit resisted, its glow flickering. But when her hand slowed and moved as Miran had shown, the glow steadied again. The armor accepted the change. Vera stared at the result, her eyes widening just slightly. It listens to me as well. Miran shook his head. No. It listens because I guided you. The difference is small, but important. For a moment she was silent. Then she looked at him in a way that felt heavier than her words. Perhaps weakness is not what I thought it was. Miran continued working, and she stayed beside him. Hours passed. They spoke little, but when they did, the words carried weight. She told him of her people, how they were trained from birth to believe in strength above all. How armor was seen as an extension of their power, not a partner. She admitted that humans were often spoken of with disdain, called fragile, short-lived, and reckless. Miran listened quietly, then answered in his calm way. Fragile things adapt. We do not have thick armor or long lives, so we make do with what we have. We find paths others do not see. That is our strength. Her eyes lingered on him. For the first time, respect softened her sharp gaze. By afternoon, the armor pulsed with steady energy. Its glow reached across its limbs, the hum deep and strong. It was not yet ready for battle, but it was alive again. The human workers whispered to one another, saying they had never seen such a sight. The alien guards remained stiff, but even they could not hide the faint awe in their faces. When Miran finally leaned back, tired but satisfied, Vera rose to her full height. She looked down at him, her expression unreadable. You have given this armor more than life, she said. You have given it trust. That is something no machine of ours has ever known. Miran looked at the glowing suit, then back at her. It is not just about fixing what is broken. It is about listening. Machines, people, even war, all of them change when someone listens. Her lips curved in the faintest motion, not quite a smile, but close. You speak like a philosopher, not an engineer. Sometimes both are needed, he replied. That night, when the hangar grew quiet and the workers left, Vera remained with Miran. The two of them sat near the glowing armor, the hum filling the silence. It was an unusual sight, an alien commander and a human engineer sitting side by side without hostility. For the first time since the war had begun, there was no talk of battle, no clash of pride. Only the steady glow of the armor, and the bond that was quietly forming between two very different beings. Vera turned her head slightly, her gaze resting on Miran. Her voice was softer than he had ever heard. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps strength is not only in the body, but in the way one sees the world. Miran met her eyes, steady and calm. That is what I believe. And in that quiet moment, a seed of understanding grew. A bond, fragile but real, was forming not only between human and alien, but between two ways of thinking. The armor, alive once more, pulsed gently as if it too felt the change. The morning sun cast a red glow across the desert, painting Station 14 in warm light. The outpost seemed calm, but the quiet was deceptive. Sensors on the perimeter detected movement far beyond the horizon. Miran was in the hangar, finishing minor adjustments to the armor. The glow from its chest was steady, a heartbeat of energy that filled the room. Commander Vera entered quietly, her armored steps echoing in the vast space. You may need to prepare, she said, her voice low but firm. We have incoming. Miran paused, raising his head. Raiders? He asked. Yes, Vera replied. They attack in numbers. They will not care for civilians or humans. This will be a true test for the armor. Miran felt a chill despite the heat. Until now, they had only tested the suit in calm conditions, under careful observation. Now, the true test would come with danger, with lives on the line. Vera led him to the platform. The armor lay waiting, its glow steady, as if it sensed the challenge ahead. Are you ready? She asked. Miran nodded. It will respond. I have guided it as much as I can. Now it must trust itself. Vera's eyes softened for a moment, though her posture remained commanding. Step inside, she said. Miran stepped aside as she approached the armor. Her armored hands moved quickly but carefully, the suit opening at the chest. She paused, then stepped inside. The moment her body touched the interior, the armor's glow intensified. Energy lines traced across the surface, forming a protective pattern that seemed to anticipate her movements. Miran studied the display as sensors tracked the suit's response. The readings were astonishing. The energy core, once weak and faltering, now thrummed with power. Good, he murmured. It trusts you. Vera glanced down at him, a faint trace of something unspoken in her eyes. She did not answer, but the look carried weight. The alarm sounded across the outpost. Red lights flashed as sirens blared. Sensors detected dozens of raider ships entering the atmosphere, their engines kicking up clouds of red dust. Here they come, Vera said calmly. We must hold them off until reinforcements arrive. Miran watched as the raiders descended. Ships swarmed the horizon, dropping smaller attack pods toward the outpost. Explosions began on the perimeter, sending plumes of dust into the sky. Human engineers and soldiers scrambled to defend the station, but their numbers were small compared to the incoming threat. Vera's voice came over the comm. I will lead the defense. Watch and learn, human. She activated the armor fully. Lights on her chest flared brightly, energy shields humming as they extended outward. The suit moved fluidly, responding to her every thought and motion. It twisted and bent, its limbs protecting the commander like a living organism. Miran's heart raced as he watched. The armor was more than a machine now, it was a partner. It anticipated attacks, moved faster than any human could, and absorbed energy blasts without faltering. The raiders landed near the outpost. Their weapons fired indiscriminately, seeking to destroy anything in their path. Vera charged forward, the armor flowing with her movements. She deflected energy beams with her arms and legs, shielded civilians with sweeping motions, and struck attackers with precision. Miran guided her from the console, providing information on weak points and enemy patterns. Though he did not physically touch the armor, his knowledge of its design allowed him to suggest optimal strategies. Each suggestion was followed flawlessly by Vera, the armor responding instantly. A group of raider ships targeted the main generator. The humans tried to defend it, but they were overwhelmed. Vera leapt toward them, her armor twisting midair to absorb fire. She landed among the attackers, her energy shields spreading outward. The raiders were thrown back, their weapons rendered useless by the glowing suit. Miran's voice came over the COMM. Focus on the ones advancing on the hangar. Use the left energy channel for deflection, it will guide your movement. Vera nodded in acknowledgement. Her movements became sharper, faster, more precise. The armor responded perfectly, as if it had learned to trust both the commander and the human guiding it. The battle continued. Explosions rocked the outpost, and dust filled the air, but the suit did not falter. Vera moved with grace, deflecting attacks and protecting soldiers. Every motion was calculated, every strike purposeful. Miran watched, his heart pounding. He had repaired the armor, guided its energy flow, and now it was performing beyond expectations. He realized that the trust between human and armor, human and alien, had created something greater than either could achieve alone. After hours of intense fighting, the raiders began to retreat. Their ships lifted from the desert and disappeared over the horizon. The outpost was battered but still standing. Explosions had left scars, but the damage was reparable. Vera removed her helmet, breathing heavily but standing tall. Her face was streaked with dust, but her eyes held something new, admiration, not only for the armor but for the human who had guided it. She turned slowly to Miran. Her voice was calm, carrying authority and respect. Only the human engineer repaired this armor. The words echoed through the hangar. Every human worker stopped to listen, every alien guard froze in place. The truth was clear, this victory would not have been possible without the human's guidance. Miran felt a rush of pride, though he did not smile. He knew the battle had tested more than the armor, it had tested trust, patience, and the ability to see potential where others saw weakness. Vera stepped closer. Her gaze held his for a long moment, steady and serious. "You have changed something today," she said. "Not just the armor, but how my people will see yours. That is not easily undone." Miran nodded. "I only guided it. It always had the potential to be strong." She studied him silently, then nodded once. The faintest trace of respect softened her expression, a silent acknowledgement of the bond that had formed between human and alien, between engineer and armor. The hangar was quiet now, save for the hum of the repaired suit. Its glow pulsed calmly, steady as a heartbeat. The battle had ended, but the understanding created between two different worlds had only just begun. The outpost was quiet after the battle, but the calm was temporary. Repairs needed to be made, supplies replenished, and wounded soldiers tended. Miran walked through the hangar, checking the armor again. Its chest glowed steadily, a calm heartbeat that showed it had fully recovered from the previous day's fight. Commander Vera approached, her tall frame casting a shadow over him. She was still in the armor, though the energy shields were now at low power. Her face, partially visible beneath the helmet, showed exhaustion and determination. "You did well yesterday," she said. Her voice was firm, yet carried a tone of respect that few humans ever heard from her. Miran shook his head slightly. The armor did the work. I only guided it. She studied him for a moment. Guidance can make the difference between victory and defeat. You have shown that. Suddenly, sensors detected another wave of raiders approaching the outpost. This time, it was larger and more organized. Ships moved in formation across the horizon, and small attack pods dropped toward the desert below. Vera's expression hardened. This is the true test. Stand close. I will need your guidance again. Miran nodded, moving to the control console beside the armor platform. Though Vera's armor could fight on its own, he knew that small adjustments and guidance could make a critical difference. The raiders landed with a coordinated assault. Their weapons fired in patterns, attempting to overwhelm the defenders. Human soldiers and alien warriors fought bravely, but the numbers were daunting. Vera activated the armor fully. Its glow intensified, running from chest to limbs, energy shields spinning outward like a protective cocoon. She moved with grace and speed, dodging attacks and deflecting energy blasts. Each motion was calculated, every strike precise. Miran guided her from the console. Left side. Energy spike incoming. Deflect and move forward. The armor responded instantly. Vera twisted, the shield bending the energy beam away from the outpost. She struck two attackers in sequence, sending them tumbling. The raiders were caught off guard. The humans watched in awe. Even alien soldiers, who had fought alongside Vera for years, could not hide their amazement. The armor moved with a fluidity that no ordinary suit possessed, anticipating attacks and protecting its wearer with precision. Miran leaned closer to the console, tracking enemy movements. Focus on the center pod. It controls the others. Disable it, and the rest will retreat. Vera adjusted her stance, energy flowing through the armor as she leapt into the air. Her arms swung in a precise arc, energy shields colliding with the central pod. Sparks flew, and the pod faltered, losing control. The remaining raiders wavered, unsure of how to respond. Now! Miran shouted. Push forward. Use the right energy channel to deflect their counterattack. Vera moved like a force of nature. The armor's shields absorbed energy blasts, and her strikes sent attackers flying. Soldiers and civilians behind her were safe, protected by the glow that pulsed with life. After intense minutes, the raiders began to retreat. Their ships lifted off, engines sputtering, and they disappeared into the distance. The outpost remained standing, largely intact thanks to the skill of its defenders and the armor that Miran had repaired. Vera removed her helmet, breathing heavily but standing tall. Her face was streaked with dust and grime, yet her eyes were bright with triumph. She turned slowly to the gathered humans and alien soldiers. Only the human engineer repaired this armor, she said. Her voice carried across the hangar. Every eye turned toward Miran. Humans gasped, alien soldiers stiffened, and even the youngest recruits looked in wonder. Miran stepped forward, humbled but steady. He did not speak, letting the moment carry the recognition he had earned. Vera's gaze returned to him. She spoke quietly, just for him. You have done more than repair metal. You have shown my people that humans are not weak. That even one human mind can change the outcome of a battle. Miran nodded. I only guided what was already strong. It just needed direction. The commander studied him for a long moment. Strength comes in many forms. Yours lies in seeing what others cannot. That is a gift worth more than blades or shields. For the first time, she smiled faintly. Not a full smile, but enough to soften her usual stern expression. Miran met her eyes, understanding the depth of respect she was offering. The human workers who had watched in awe approached him cautiously, offering nods and small words of congratulations. For them, the battle had proved that humans were not only survivors but contributors to victories that once seemed impossible. Even the alien soldiers, usually rigid and proud, gave silent acknowledgement. Their commander, Vera, had spoken publicly, declaring the humans' role. That declaration carried weight across the ranks. Miran returned to the armor, placing a hand gently on its glowing chest. "You did well," he whispered. The suit pulsed softly in response, as though recognizing his praise. Vera stood beside him, her gaze fixed on the armor. "It will continue to improve," she said. "With you guiding it, there is no limit to what it can do." Miran looked up at her. "It is not just me. The armor has its own strength. I only help it remember what it is capable of." Her eyes softened once more. "Then we are stronger together. Humans and aliens, guiding one another, learning from each other. That is a rare thing, and it may change the course of the war." The hangar was quiet now, filled only with the hum of the repaired armor. Its glow was steady, a heartbeat of life and energy, proof that what had once been broken could now protect and endure. Vera turned to Miran one final time that day. Her voice was low, carrying weight and respect. "Remember this, human. You are not just an engineer. You are a part of this victory. Your mind, your hands, your courage, they matter as much as any weapon. And that truth will not be forgotten." Miran nodded, feeling a quiet pride. He had repaired more than armor. He had repaired trust, forged a bond, and proved that humanity had a strength beyond what others could see. The day ended with calm returning to the outpost. Soldiers cleaned their weapons, humans returned to their work, and the armor pulsed steadily on the platform. The battle had been won, but more importantly, a new understanding had been created between human and alien. The sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows across Station 14. The outpost was finally quiet. Repairs had been completed, supplies restocked, and soldiers were resting after the long battle. The hangar where the armor rested glowed softly, the gentle pulse of its energy filling the room like a heartbeat. Miran sat on the floor beside it, wiping sweat from his hands. The armor was stable now, fully repaired, and responding perfectly to the thoughts and guidance of Commander Vera. Its glow was calm, steady, and alive, proof that it could withstand the challenges ahead. Vera entered the hangar without ceremony. She walked slowly, her armored boots making soft echoes on the floor. Her posture was tall and proud, but there was something in her eyes Miran had not seen before, a quiet recognition, deep and steady. "You have done what no other could," she said, her voice calm but filled with weight. "This armor is no longer only a weapon. It is a protector, a symbol of what can happen when humans and aliens work together." Miran looked at her, a faint smile forming. "It is not me alone. The armor is strong. I only guided it." Vera nodded once, sharply. "Perhaps. But guidance is more than skill. It is patience, understanding, and the courage to trust. That is what you have given it." The two of them stood in silence for a moment, the only sound the soft pulse of energy from the armor. For the first time, the human and alien shared a quiet understanding without words. Vera stepped closer, her eyes locking with Miran's. The distance between them felt smaller than it should have, as if the battles and distrust of the past had been erased by the events of the last few days. "You changed more than a machine," she said softly. "You changed how my people see yours. They will remember this day." They will remember that humans are not weak. That one mind, one set of hands, can turn the tide of war. Miran nodded, his heart steady. Then maybe it is time humans are seen as more than outsiders. Maybe this is only the beginning. Vera's lips curved faintly, a rare sign of softness in her usually stern demeanor. She studied him carefully, as if weighing not just his words but his entire being. Perhaps, she said. Perhaps you are right. She turned slowly toward the armor, placing a hand gently on its glowing chest. It listens to me because it trusts you, she said, her voice carrying quiet awe. And it trusts me because it feels your guidance. That bond is rare, and it is yours to keep. Miran reached out as well, his hand meeting hers on the armor. The glow intensified under their combined touch. He felt the hum of energy, the pulse of life inside the suit, and knew that the machine was not only alive but aware of the trust between them. You have taught me something, Vera continued. Strength is not only in power or skill. It is in patience, in understanding, in seeing potential where others see weakness. That is a lesson I will carry, and my people will carry it too. Miran felt a quiet pride, but he remained humble. It was never about being stronger than anyone else. It was about helping what is already strong reach its full potential. Vera looked at him slowly, her gaze steady and deep. And that is why you are no ordinary human. You have courage, skill, and wisdom beyond your kind's reputation. That is why I will trust you, and why my people will follow that trust. The human workers and alien guards who had been watching from the edges of the hangar stepped forward cautiously. They had seen the battles, the guidance, and the bond that had formed. Now they saw the final recognition, the quiet acknowledgement that one human had done what no one else could. Miran stood beside the armor, facing Vera. The commander removed her helmet fully, revealing a face marked by years of battle but softened by the experience of this shared journey. She studied him for a long moment, her eyes never leaving his. Only the human engineer repaired this armor, she said, loud enough for everyone in the hangar to hear. And only he could guide it to victory. That truth will not be forgotten. Not by me, not by my soldiers, not by this outpost, and not by anyone who hears this story. The silence that followed was profound. Humans and aliens alike absorbed the weight of her words. The armor pulsed gently, almost as if agreeing with her. Vera turned slowly, her eyes once again resting on Miran. She took a deep breath, her voice softening further. I once believed strength was only in power, in armor, and in weapons. But now I see that strength can also be in a mind, in patience, in courage that does not strike but guides. You have shown me that. You have shown us all that humans can change the outcome when given the chance. Miran nodded, steady and calm. Then we will continue. Together, humans and your people. Guiding, learning, and protecting. That is the way forward. Vera's gaze lingered on him for a long moment. Then she spoke slowly, deliberately, a rare warmth in her tone. Do not forget, human, that this moment is as much yours as it is the armor's. The trust, the bond, the courage, they are yours. And that look you see in my eyes now is not merely respect. It is recognition. Recognition that humans can be more than what we believed. That they can lead, guide, and inspire. Miran met her eyes, understanding the full weight of her words. In that single moment, he realized something profound. The war, the battles, the challenges, all of them were not only tests of strength, but tests of understanding, courage, and trust. And he had passed. The hangar remained quiet, the glow of the armor steady and alive. Vera finally stepped back, her face soft but her posture strong. You have earned your place here, human. Not by strength of arms, but by strength of mind. That is a truth that no battle can erase. Miran placed one last hand on the armor, feeling its calm energy. Thank you, he said softly. For trusting me. Vera nodded once, slowly. Her eyes held his, steady and unwavering. And thank you, human. For showing us what humans can truly do. The sun dipped lower, casting long orange light across the hangar. The human engineer and the alien commander stood side by side, a quiet understanding between them. The armor pulsed softly, alive and whole. And in that moment, trust, courage, and respect had formed a bond that could not be broken. The story of the armor, the human engineer, and the alien commander would be told for years. It would be remembered not just as a tale of battle, but as a tale of trust, guidance, and the strength that comes from understanding.